This week I did something I've never done before. I picked sacred plums from a shrine with my friend Noriko, plums that only grow once a year. And with them I made 3 kinds of Japanese plum wine and even a non-alcoholic version you've probably never heard of. I'm going to share how to make the plum wine and syrup and all of the things that you're going to need in this video, from shopping for secret ingredients to making umesh the traditional way. This was a week in Japan I will not forget. So today my good friend Noriko has arranged for us to go plum picking at her local shrine. So I'm headed her way right now to start this adventure. Hello, I'm just leaving home now. I'll be in the car park in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
See you. Bye. Noriko only lives down the road from me, but today is also a work day for us. So after picking plums, I'm headed off to work. Who's that?
That's right.
Is that you, Tama? Tama is Noriko's stray cat that she has somehow adopted. Such a cute little boy. He's very, very friendly. He can probably smell Millie on me and the camera. Wakayama, like many traditional towns and rural areas in Japan, has narrow streets that are pretty much impossible for some cars to navigate. The streets were originally designed long before cars existed, so back then it was made for foot traffic or hand-pulled carts. Locals use scooters, bikes, or just walk, and delivery trucks and cars park at the nearest wider road and then carry things in by hand. People who are looking to buy cheap houses in Japan are often surprised when they find out the house they were looking at doesn't actually have any car access, and the only way to access the house is by foot. So we've walked our way around the back streets and now we've made it to Shima Shrine. You prayed to them?
Yeah, I did.
And they said this is okay, will you touch it? Yeah. Wow, okay. So the way this day came about was I mentioned to Noriko that this year I wanted to try making umesh, the Japanese plum wine, and she said she knew where to get some plums from, but she just needed to check. And that place was Shima Shrine here in Wakayama. She asked the priest if they were going to do anything with the plums that were falling off the trees, and the priest said, help yourself. Now the reason why these plums are so good, not just that they're holy plums from a shrine, but they are organic. So the priests and their family here don't use any kind of pesticides or bug sprays on the plums. So that's another exciting part of getting these plums from the shrine. The trees were just bursting full of plums. Now, umesh, or Japanese plum wine, has a history that dates back over 1,000 years. The umesh version emerged during the Edo period in 1603, and at that time Japanese households began making umesh at home, not only because it tasted good, but because it was believed to help with digestion, ease with fatigue, and help with sore throats. Families often had their own recipes, which was passed down through generations, and it was also a really good way to preserve the seasonal ume harvest. You can easily buy umesh in the store, but a lot of older generations still make it at home in the early summer when the green fruit appears. We thank the priest very much for letting us pick some of his plums. And Noriko has now offered for me to go to her house to try her umesh. So she has both the umesh and the ume syrup, both of the things that I want to make. We had such good success, Wayne.
Yes, we did. Even wash your hands. So this is a ume juice I made from last year. And it's ready to... So you have to dilute it with water.
How long did you leave it before it's ready to drink?
I can't remember. I can't recall, but probably a month or so.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You like it?
Is this the brandy one?
I believe this is a brandy. So she gave me two. One was from white liquor, and I believe this was a brandy.
So that will be alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol. Alcohol. Like what is it? White
Good, isn't it?
That one's really good.
Yeah.
I've got all of the insider tips that I can also share with you today on how to make this. First step is I need to get all of the glass jars and ingredients that are needed to make this umeshu. I thought I'd try Daiso first because really I just need some big glass containers to start the process off. But unfortunately here at Daiso I could only find smaller size containers. But it did get me thinking. We've picked over 4 kilograms of ume today. So I'm thinking to make a couple of special little ones as gifts to give to people. I'll also need a smaller jar to make the syrup in. My next stop was going to the actual supermarket, and because it is ume season, they've got a big special. It's actually their advertised special on all of the glass jars and the things that you need. So because I have picked so many ume, I'm going to need quite a lot of ingredients. So if you're making this at home, you don't need anywhere as much as what I'm going to be buying today. And check out the price of the ume. That is so expensive. So that's around 14 Australian dollars. Quite expensive for 1 kilo. So I need to buy rock sugar. I need to buy 35% alcohol, and there's 2 options here. There's brandy or white liquor. So I'm going to make both because I want to make different flavors. There's also some really good instructions here, and they're aligning with exactly what I looked at when I searched on the net. So one is for umesh and one is for the syrup. And I'm going to be making both and adding in a couple of extra flavors. So it's going to be a little bit costly to get everything set up because I don't own the glass jars, and I have to buy the liquor and I have to buy the rock sugar. But the good thing is we got the ume plums for free from the shrine, so that's brought the cost down just a little bit. If you watched last week's video, you'll know that we've had a lot of rain lately here in Japan, and reports are suggesting that the rainy season has actually started. So this has been a great idea to keep me busy during the rainy, wet weekend that we're having. So let's get started and make some traditional umesh that I'll be able to enjoy in a year's time. So I'm using my brand new workbench, which you saw I got delivered last week. So the preparation is the most important part, I believe, and all you have to do is start by pulling out the stalks that are stuck in the plum. And I heard that the best way to do this was with a bamboo skewer. Now, luckily these plums are big plums, but the smaller plums take a very, very long time. And I know this from experience, and you'll see later in the video. I'm also going over each of the plums to make sure there's no imperfections, because a simple bug or some kind of imperfection in the plum could ruin the whole batch. So after I've taken the stalks out, I'm then soaking the plums in water and giving them a really good thorough wash, and once again going over them one by one just to make sure that they're all okay. Then the plums need to be dried really thoroughly. So I'm using some gauze towel and I'm drying each one as much as I can and then letting it sit on the other gauze towel just to make sure there's no moisture left on the plums. Before I started washing the plums, I'd actually washed the glass jars in very hot soapy water and all of their lids, and they've been sitting there behind me drying off. After they've dried off, the next thing you want to do is spray it with really high content alcohol spray. And this is food grade spray, and we just use that to make sure there's absolutely no moisture left inside the glass jar, and also to sort of act as an antibacterial sterilization. So really important to make sure that you put a lot of the spray in there and also wipe out any moisture. Then we make like a bit of a lasagna because we layer the plums and the rock sugar. So the rock sugar to plum ratio, it's 1 kilogram of plums to 800 to 1,000 grams of rock sugar. Now, I don't particularly like anything that's too sickly sweet. This is quite a sweet drink, but I just want to lower the sugar content, so I'm going to use 800 grams of sugar, which is the lower end of what you can do in the recipe. And then, so I'm using a 4-liter jar, and I'm going to use 1.8 liters of white liquor for this first try. So as I said, I've got a kilo of plums, I've got 800 grams of rock sugar, and then 1.8 liters of white liquor. You can use any liquor, it's going to change the flavor. It just has to be over 35% alcohol for this to work. Then I'm going to seal it up with an airtight lid and then put the normal lid over the top. And then you just need to put this in a cool, dark place. So I'm going to put it in my bottom cupboard in the kitchen. It's a cupboard that I don't often open very often, and it's quite dark as well. So on to my next batch. So I'm going to do the exact same process again. I'm carefully washing the plums. This time I'm dividing them up into bigger and smaller plums. I have so many plums, and the next one is going to be a brandy flavor. So I'm going to try this second flavor, is doing exactly the same thing, layering it like a lasagna with the sugar and the plums. And I'm also making my 2 gift jars. I'm going to give one to Noriko and one to Natsumi, who've both been helping me so much lately. And as I said, this one's brandy, so it's going to have a completely different flavor profile to the other one. But actually, this isn't my first time making this. Let's rewind to 1 week ago. I found at my local marketplace a bag of tiny, tiny little plums. So these have a totally different flavor profile to the big plums. And they're also slightly riper. So you can see they're a little bit yellow as opposed to the very, very green ones. So I must say this took so long to pull all of the little stalks out of these ones. And it took so long to get them dry. So I definitely recommend, if you're starting off, to try and use the larger green plums. It was quite a lot of work to do this. Now I'm going to soak these ones in the white liquor. So I'm using exactly the same, just layering process and using the same ratio of sugar to plums. And I'm just going to do white liquor because these ones are going to be apparently a lot sweeter. So I thought the brandy might just be way too sweet. So I'm really looking forward to trying all of these different flavor profiles. Right, back to today, and what we have now is 3 different flavors. We've got the small plums. Here they are a week later, and you can see the plums have floated to the top and the sugar has settled on the bottom. So I'm just turning these over once every day to make sure that everything is mixed in well. So what's going to happen in a week's time is all of these plums are going to float to the top and the rock sugar should float to the bottom and start dissolving and drawing out the flavors of the plums into the liquor that's in the jar. I'll have to make another video in a year's time and do taste testing for you. But I wanted to show you, you can walk into any supermarket or convenience store and you can find umeshu for sale on the shelves. So this is what it looks like when it's for sale. And you can see inside this one, there are 2 plums and you can actually eat the plums. They're a little bit crunchy and they've absorbed all the alcohol. You can also buy it in a carton without the plums inside. A lot of people drink this on the rocks. I prefer mine with a little bit of soda water, and it's more like a sweet treat before your dinner.
It's your rolled cabbage.
Hey!
Ah!
It's for you!
Oh my! Oh, thank you! Oh, you did it!
This one's brandy.
Oh, thank you!
Yeah. So I made white
so I have to wait.
brandy, and then I made 2 small ones, one for you,
Oh,
one
did
for
you?
Natsumi.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you so
We had
much.
dinner
Oh,
yet.
good.
Noriko knew I was working on the umeshu all day, so she brought me around some dinner. So of course I wanted to give her some to say thank you. Next up is the ume syrup. Now it's actually a very, very similar process. all you have to do is just get some smaller jars, and same thing with the sterilizing. The difference here is you put the ume that you're going to use into the freezer overnight. So it's the next day, and these have been in the freezer all night and they're rock solid. Apparently, if you freeze the ume before you make ume syrup, it draws the juice out of the ume a lot better. There's only 2 ingredients in this recipe. It's just the ume and the rock sugar. And we're going to use the exact same ratio of ume to rock sugar. Layer it like a lasagna, pack it right up into the top. And there we have it. I'm going to have 2 jars of this, and it's just going to sit in the dark cupboard for 14 days. Giving it a little shake every couple of days to mix it in. Then you take the plums out after 14 days and put it in the fridge, and then it is ready to drink with a bit of soda water. Now, speaking of all things handmade, I have been drying out Millie's catnip over the last few days. As you know, when it's been sunny, I've put it out there to dry, and now I have her little bag of cat drugs, and I just wanted to see how she reacts to catnip. At first I thought it was a complete fail, then she started punching it. Then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, the catnip started working its magic. Excuse my messy floors. I was just about to vacuum, so I wasn't too worried about catnip all over the floors. But wow, this is working really great. So I think it's a good little stress reliever for Millie when she's a bit uptight or having a hard day. I read on the internet that it makes cats super playful, and she got so playful in a minute that she knocked down all of the plums that I had in a bag, and they ended up rolling all over the floor, which she then went and chased around the house, which was pretty funny. These are the reject plums, by the way. So of the plums that we picked, a lot of them were actually not good enough to use in any of the syrup or the umeshu. So some fun facts about umeshu. You are legally allowed to make umesh at home as long as you don't sell it. And the ume fruit that is used in umeshu is actually inedible raw. It's very sour and contains toxins when it's uncooked. But once soaked in alcohol, it's completely safe and very, very delicious. Last week's video, I was talking about the humidity in Japan and the rainy seasons here, and so many of you wrote to me and recommended that I get a dehumidifier and use my AC on dry function. So I have actually bought on Amazon this little dehumidifier, which I've now put upstairs where I had the issue, and I've had it on for about 72 hours, and look at how much water it collected in the bottom. So I'm moving it around all of the different rooms in the upstairs area of the house, but it's really working. So I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who recommended this. So what did you think about making umesh at home? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again next week. See you later. Bye.